A beautiful Saturday morning in the Lou. God, 70 degrees the last few days. Beautiful. I was bundled up last week, Ryan Swingler.
Yeah,
man. It's nice out. Beautiful weekend. Great way to get out there, enjoy that nice weather. Of course, you're another weekend of the Earl Austin experience. I'm Earl Austin Jr. here with you till 11 o'clock, and lots to talk about. Of course, if you can listen live, if you can't listen live, you can listen on demand at lowinfo.com. We got the KLIS app that you can access, and we're on YouTube and all that fun stuff. So hope you enjoy us. Of course, at 10 o'clock, I'll be joined by my co-host, Ron Zetcher. It's the easy second hour. Always look forward to talking with Ron. And of course, the Earl Austin Experience is brought to you by Fast Track Auto Transport, St. Louis's go-to company for all your vehicle transport needs. Visit ftautotrans.com or call 636-677-9004. Thank you, Mark Blue, the owner of Fast Track Transport. Of course, he was here last week as a guest. We had a great time in that first hour. Of course, we're getting to the nitty-gritty of high school football when it's mid-November. Last night, district championships around the St. Louis area and the state of Missouri were handing out. We had some great games, and there's nobody better to talk about what went on last night than my man John Hough of the Gateway Sports Venue. John, how are you this morning? Thank you for joining us, taking some time.
I'm fine. Thank you very much, Earl. It's great to be here. And last night was a pretty crazy night that I think it's maybe the most craziest district championship night I've ever been around.
It was nuts. First of all, I want to talk about not only the game that you were at, but you do your pregame show as well, GSV Live. Talk about that, and then of course you were out at Kirkwood High School, right?
Yeah, we were at Kirkwood versus Eureka, and it was the Gateway. It's GSV game day. You could say live. It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, we set up at about 2:45, and just really fortunate to have great people around me who helped set it up and who really wanted to do that. And we were on live for a little over an hour, and we got to talk to Coach Macklin and then Cooper Owens and Jacob Eberhardt from Kirkwood, and we got some really good answers out of those guys, and then just did our thing later on. And I think we had as of right now, over 2,000 people have seen it.
Absolutely.
Seen that video.
Great.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And we've gotten a lot of great response from that as well. And it's, we're looking forward to doing more of those for basketball.
Was that your first one, or you've been to other places?
Officially our first one. We had a test run at John Burroughs versus MICDS last season for basketball. Right. And that did okay. I mean, it was all smooth production wise, but yeah, we were able to finally get it going officially at Kirkwood. And Corey Nestledge, their athletic director there, he was helped us a ton. He was very hospitable and helpful to help us set up there and just kind of give us whatever we needed. And so it really helps to get those things going when you have really helpful administrators at a high school. Just help set you up and be cooperative and on the same page.
I think it's a great idea because we see it on the TV. Obviously, College Game Day is on this morning for football and basketball. So to bring that sort of high school kids can enjoy that experience as well, and that school spirit. Kind of like, in the mornings, the TV stations bring their schools out at the pep rallies in the morning at 6 a.m. All the channels do that now, but to bring that kind of pregame experience, I think it's great for the kids to do that. For both school communities that are playing, especially the one that's hosting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's our goal, is just to kind of shine a brighter light, or another light, I should say, on the kids and both programs who are participating. It was a little bit more Kirkwood heavy because they're hosting it, but hopefully it's going to grow and we can get more both schools involved in those, and and like we did a coach's corner, Rowan Bishop, he was all him. He was amazing with that. It helps that he's an actual football coach, right, unlike myself. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do what he does, but so that was really good. Added another dimension to that, and just talked about the games and pregame, and it's definitely a huge inspiration from College Game Day, no doubt, no question. And so in order to kind of give to put that into a high school football avenue, and then we're going to try to do more high school basketball games this season. It's a really cool deal.
Absolutely. And of course, the game itself, Kirkwood High School, looking very part of a contender, 21-10 over Eureka. Those were two great programs and that meeting in that district championship.
It was, and that was I know the score might not reflect it, but that was a high quality football game. Eureka's, I thought they played really well. I mean, even though they lost, but they got out to a great start, 7-0 lead, and then Kirkwood, they came back. They have incredible athletes, and Cooper Owens did a really good job of throwing the ball. I think they scored on their next 3 drives after having a bad first drive, and they scored right before, I think with a minute left in the first half to go up 21-7, which that was, you're never out of it if it's a 2-score game, but it felt like a minor dagger because Kirkwood's defense was really good, and Eureka is not particularly high-flying offense. Having said that, though, they were able to move the ball a lot. And Eureka, they shut out Kirkwood in the second half in that game, and that's really commendable. But Kirkwood's defense is pretty good, too, and they only allowed 1 field goal and got some big stops in the fourth quarter, and that's kind of all they needed there.
So the Pioneers, the 21-10, they move on to the section, I guess, quarterfinals now with 8 teams against Farmington. They defeated Cape Central last night, 21-0. But boy, as we talked about before we got in here, just an incredible night of football. I wasn't out there live, but I did watch the CBC Lafayette basketball game. Football game.
It was a basketball game. Essentially, that's a legitimate basketball score.
Absolutely, I tweeted it was an instant classic at halftime, 34-34. It was an amazing game to watch. I give Lafayette credit because CBC is powerful, but 77-62. That was not on my bingo card. I can tell you that much. And we've been saying that CBC's got the best offense in the Midwest, and yes, you have.
And I think there's maybe some other teams who could, if they really wanted to, maybe could run up the score a little bit. But that was, they didn't run up the score because they were just, their offense was just doing, they had so many opportunities because defense was optional in that game.
Yeah, they needed, because it was a 1-score game. You thought CBC would run away.
It was.
They were up to, it was 62-56.
Yeah,
with 7 minutes left, and CBC had the ball. It was 4th down and 3. So if Lafayette gets to stop, they get a chance to tie or take the lead.
And I don't know all the exact details because I wasn't at the game, and I'm just going off of Twitter updates at this point. But I can only imagine Nick McClellan had an incredible game. Vic Williams, who's their running back, he
5
had
touchdowns.
There you go. That's not shocking at all. In fact, he actually, going into the game, he actually only had 91 carries throughout the whole season and had like over 1,200 yards or something crazy like that. So, out of all the top 10, because I think he's top 10 in the area in rushing yards, but out of all those other players, he had by far the lowest amount of carries because his yards, he had 13 yards per carry going into the game. It's insane.
Yeah,
it probably rose as well.
I think you had back-to-back kickoff returns for touchdowns. Vic Williams and Ted Washington with back-to-back 90-yard kickoff returns. See, Lafayette was playing, like you say, they threw all caution. They went for it on 4th down every time.
That's awesome.
Even if it was 4th and 10 on their own 20, they're going for it. Yeah. I think they pooched or onside kicked it every time they scored. Trying to, like you say, when you're an underdog, they say, stay on schedule. They were trying to stay way ahead of schedule because they knew what they were up against. And to their credit.
I love that approach. Yeah. And constantly putting pressure on CBC is, I think, probably the best thing you can do in a game like that. Just play like you have nothing to lose, and it seemed like they did, and ultimately, but CBC is just really, really good. And I think, unfortunately for Lafayette, last year happened where CBC lost to Kirkwood.
Yes.
So I just thought
I thought it exactly.
I just thought CBC, they're just not going to let that happen again, even though it was really, really close.
I think that probably propelled him this year, that Kirkwood experience last year. Here's another team from that old school suburban West Conference on their home field threatening them again, and instead of kind of not folding, but this time they just stepped on the gas a little bit. Every time Lafayette. And I give Lafayette. We had those kids and Coach Miller in the studio last week. He's an impressive young man. I didn't realize he's just 26, 27 years old.
I think he's 29.
29. He's in his 20s.
I hope he's not 26. That's too young.
He's a young dude, and he's taken over a storied program. Took over for a great coach, and there's expectations, and I just the way he handles himself and the way the team handled themselves was very impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about our award show later on in the year that we do, but I think he's a big contender for Coach of the Year. I just think what he was able to do, and he already took over a good program,
Yes,
a good team, but I just think what he was able to do this year was incredible. Go undefeated, beat Kirkwood, beat Eureka, and then nearly beat CBC.
Yeah, beat SLU, who was undefeated after 7 weeks.
I think what they did last night, Lafayette, I think that's the most. You're gonna have to go in the record books. That might be the most points CBC's ever allowed in a game.
I think they mentioned that on the air.
Yeah.
I know it's CBC. I think it's the most points they've scored. I think they mentioned it's the most points they've given up. I have to look that up.
Definitely in the Scott Pingle era. I can't believe that'd be any other game where the CBC gave up over 60 points in a game.
Right.
But fortunately for them, they still won. So I don't think they'll mind it that much.
No, not at all. Like I said, when you put up 77, I mean, that's just. Well, who was it? The Smet last? Well, the Smet put up some points last week.
36 points.
And CBC, 60, 56?
Yes. I think final was 55-36 in that game. And that was kind of, it was close too. It wasn't like CBC kind of blew them out and then Smet kept their starters in and ran up the score a little bit. No, it was like a 2 to 3 score game.
Talk about the young man Gage kid. I don't know if a kid that does
Corday Gage
does everything.
Yeah,
the football field.
So he's a receiver, he's a kicker, punter, he plays defense, he's a defensive back, and I don't remember, he might even be a punt returner.
Yeah, I think he had a reception touchdown. I think he kicked 3-4 field goals.
And he's a legitimate kicker too.
And he had an interception. Yeah.
He's not just a guy who kicks PATs and short field goals. He can kick 50-yarders.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's one of the most unique. I mean, we see a lot of versatile football, but he's maybe one of the most unique players, versatile players that we've seen. Because, like I say, he's legit. He can go to college and kick.
Yeah, I think he could. Yeah,
yeah,
and plays baseball. I think he's committed to Mizzou. Or yeah. So it'll be.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, not that was easy.
Yes.
But no, so I don't know what he would do in college. I mean, I don't know what he's planning on doing, but he's certainly got options.
Oh yeah, his dad was a heck of a player, Justin, at Mizzou.
That's right. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about your alma mater. I know it didn't end the way you wanted it to. They lost to Cardinal Ritter 36-3, but it was quite a ride for the Rams.
It was a ride
to get to that championship
and
game.
You know what? And going into the Ritter game, I really didn't have any expectations.
Sure.
I was happy. My plate was full. Getting to the district championship game for the first time in 6 years. It was a great season. Adam Hamilton and staff did, I think, a great job, all things considered.
Kind of a, not say rebirth, but kind of just a reintroduction.
It's weird to say
football once again.
It is. Yeah, because that Ladou's been really good for a long time.
Yes.
They've always been good,
yes.
But and they've been okay the last few years, but just for their standards, just not where they want to be. And they go 8-4 and win some pretty good games. Beating. MICDS. I know MICDS is a little down, but that's a big deal for Ladou folks.
That Morrison Road game is always. I've seen a few of those.
It's
different. It is.
It is different. Beat Hazelwood East twice, and then especially the way they did it last week, where they were down 19-0 with 8 minutes to go in the game and come back and win it was huge. And then they were Suburban Red co-champions, and so. It's still a conference championship technically, so they'll take that, and the beat and Summit was a good team this year, so to beat them, and then they had another crazy game with Rittner. And by the way, Rittner and Pattonville play today, so Rittner could be a district champion.
Yes, they could.
Yeah, so a lot to be proud of and a lot to look forward to. And this is, by the way, this is unofficial, but Mason Martin, I believe, is now the all-time leading tackler in Ladou history with over 400. Yeah. Great player, great young man, 4.0 GPA, committed to Arizona State, and I think he's got to enroll in January, I think. So so definitely got to miss covering him. He's a really good kid and a lot of fun to watch.
For Cardinal Ritter, district champion once again. They kind of had to
7 years in a row, I believe.
7 years in a row, but this year was kind of a year they had to retool a little bit. They lost so much firepower from last year's team. Of course, Manny Ellis really stepped into a role. They were playing young people at quarterback and everything. And the last 3 or 4 weeks, it looks like they've really found their stride. Big game against the Smet, Lutheran North last night. Looked like they seem to have found their stride hitting at the right time in postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think ever since Coach Spain's been there since 2020, they've always won a district championship. So I think that's 6 seasons. Yeah, that's 6 years in a row of winning a district championship right there. So that's, and they started out in class, I think 3, but now that's 3 years in a row in class 5 they won. So, if you want to, go that far, that's impressive. And they're one of the favorites in class 5. And Manny Ellis, he's been fantastic. I think he's got to be really close to 2,000 yards now rushing on the season, if not already there. It's just really, he's about 5'7", 5'8", but he's incredibly fast.
Yes.
And, if he gets loose, he's probably going to take it to the house. And Rylan Moore is a sophomore, freshman quarterback. And then Kashmir Manchuk, he's a sophomore. So they kind of rotating those two guys, and both young underclassmen, and they've done a pretty solid job, all things considered. And Ritter is just fast as heck, all around, all across the board. They play fast, and their defense swarms to the football. And I think it was a kind of interesting game for the first half. Ladue had 2 opportunities to score, but had to settle for field goals, or settled for 1 field goal, and I think just didn't score on one of those other drives. And then I think just the big difference was Ritter was able to just limit Ladue to 3 and outs for the most part, and I think Ladue's defense just kind of ran out of steam, and that's where Ritter was able to really kind of take advantage and kind of run away.
Right. We'll make our man Ryan Swingler happy here. We're going to talk about his St. Mary's Dragons, another team kind of like Ladue. They were powerful state championships. We've seen Kevin Coleman and Jamal and Roberts and all those guys. And then there was a little bit of a dip. It looks like back again. Yeah. Big win, district championship over another quality program, quality team in Lutheran North, and very impressive last night.
Yeah, it seemed like they were kind of in front for most of the game. I think actually they never trailed, and it was, I think, 14-12 at halftime, and then they shut out Lutheran North in the second half and ended up winning 35-12. And Kingston Miles he's one of the better running backs in the state, and he's only a junior.
Just a junior.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's got some D1 offers, I think, including from Wisconsin. And I don't know exactly what happened who scored, but I'm assuming he had a pretty good game.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns.
There you go.
247 yards. So.
There you go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So no, but it's been a big year for St. Mary's. I mean, they haven't been that bad, honestly. They play tough schedules. They've had tough schedules the last few years too. So now they're able to kind of get back into the swing of things with, just they're a little bit older too, and just got underclassmen now who are a little older and producing for them. And so it's a big victory for them to maybe swing their program back into where they were a few years ago, into getting to state. And that's going to be really hard to do too, because those were some unbelievable teams that they had. So it's going to be pretty hard to create that type of teams and talent they had. Yes. But no, if they can kind of just be a mainstay in class 4, which I think is very attainable, by the way. So they can, I think, a team that can win district championships consistently, I think they can certainly do that.
Another game we had a lot of excitement, Parkway North and not Parkway North. Yeah, that one, but first Fort Zumwalt North and Parkway West overtime, and came down to a 2-point conversion. Guts to the Longhorns, but it was in Zumwalt North, and Coach Bacon once again back in the winner's circle.
They are for one of 3 overtime games in the area last night. That's like you had the CBC Lafayette game, and then the 3 other overtime games. It's just absolutely insane. Yeah, this is a game. I gotta admit, I thought Zumwalt North was going to win by a few scores. I didn't think it was going to be that down to the wire. So I got to give a lot of credit to Parkway West in that game, and it was tied at 7-7 at halftime, and West even was leading 14-7.
Yes.
So their defense did incredible at just stepping up, and I'm assuming somewhat limiting Zumwalt North's rushing attack in their spread option offense. And game got to overtime. I think Jaden Burleson scored a touchdown to make it 21-14, and then. So I think West, they had a 2nd and 25.
Yeah, they got sacked. I think went back to the 40.
Yeah.
Then a PI kind of bought it back, and then they scored.
Yeah, they had a big pass, down to the 5-yard line, and then they scored. And, they went for 2, which in the moment, I know it's hindsight, but I remember I was following the tweets in the moment. I'm like, I think that's a good strategy. Just you can end the game right here. You're on the road, and
he said his team was tired. He had some linemen out, so
right.
They were
It's
trying
like,
to end it.
Yeah, end it right there. It was pretty close, but it was a well defended play by Zumwalt North, and they were able to bat a ball down for an incomplete pass, like right at the 1 yard line, and they hold on for their their 10th ever district championship.
Yeah. That's incredible. It just reminded me of a Show Me Bowl. It's almost 20 years ago now. Jesus, Webb City played Clayton, and Clayton scored first, kicked the point, and Webb City scored, and went for the two. And like, we're Webb City, we're supposed to win.
Yeah,
Clayton, Terrence Bird, them stopped them. It just mayhem in the dome that night. Orchard Farm and Parkway North, a very good one. 17-14, hard fought game. Parkway North. Program. They're doing a nice job.
They are. I think this is their second district championship in a row, second year in a row they've beaten Orchard Farm to win the Class 4 District 4 championship. And this was last year was a little bit of a blow up, but this year was really down to the wire. Parkway North, it was tied, and then Orchard Farm took the lead early in the fourth quarter, and then Parkway North responded, and then the big play of the game with about 2 minutes to go, Orchard Farm attempted a field goal, but Parkway North blocked it, and that ultimately decided the game right there. So it's it's a tough pill to swallow to have a field goal get blocked, to ultimately just kind of end the season. But another solid year for Orchard Farm, back-to-back 10-win seasons, and I think that's a program that's just going to keep getting better. They got
their sports was really, I see their basketball won a district last year. They've really, I guess since they both built that new school,
they've been good too, but you're right. They have been good even before the new school, but, and that community, that district has grown so much in a short time span as well. So, in the northern St. Charles area, I think, Orchard Farm, they're kind of developing. I don't know how further they're going to grow, but they're definitely, it seems like a solid Class 4 school, who's not exactly small, and they got good athletes there and good coaches. Their basketball team should be good this year too again. So a lot to look forward to there. And then, but as for Parkway North, Coach Odenwald, he's done a fantastic job of kind of revitalizing the program over the years. I mean, it was the first few years where, struggles just kind of getting under it. But then year 3, they've really just been good ever since his third year, 2021. And and they're in a good spot right now with their program. So it's, and they got, I think they're playing St. Mary's there in the next round. I
believe so.
Yeah,
right.
That'll be a heck of a game.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a break there, but we're going to continue our talk with John Hough of the Gateway Sports Venue. A lot of high school football. Once again, the show's brought to you by Fast Track Auto Transport, St. Louis's go-to company for all your vehicle transport needs. Visit ftautotrans.com or call 636-677-9004. We'll be right back. Talking it over with John Hough here on the Earl Austin Experience on 590 KLIS, the Lou Information Station. You can listen live on demand as well. We're on YouTube. You can access the app. We're enjoying some high school football. Before we go around the state, there was a couple other exciting games in the metro area. I know I believe Troy and Zumwalt West had a great game, 34-31.
Yeah, it was
last field goal, I think, won it. It came down to a field goal.
And it went to overtime.
Yes.
Troy Buchanan did not score on their drive, and so it left the door open for Zumwalt West just to go for a field goal, and Cade Williams hit a 40-yard field goal.
40-yard, wow.
Yeah, to win the game. So I don't think they got a first down as well, but obviously he's a good kicker, so within 30 yards he's able to hit one of those. But yeah, that was an emotional win for Zumwalt West because they were losing they were down by 14 points in the fourth quarter and then scored on their last two drives. Two of their last three drives technically they actually got an interception on the last with 13 seconds to go, but weren't able to score there. But yeah, so that's another. It's gonna sting for Troy right there because the second, I think third year in a row they lost the district championship game.
Now, was the year they lost a really good quarterback at the beginning of the season, second week.
Hunter Humphrey in week 2 they tore his ACL, and I think if he would have been healthy, I think they would have had another undefeated regular season, and then who knows what happens in the playoffs. But got to say that Carter Schaefer, their backup quarterback who came in, he's only a sophomore, and he had a really good season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's more of a pocket quarterback, but he's 6'3", and I did a really good job, and to still allow and help at least Troy have a pretty good offense, even though they're more of a run team with Carter Dow who's committed to Linwood and Chris Winger. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, both those guys finished with over 20 touchdowns, and so but then for Zumwalt West, Clayton O'Brien had a really good game throwing the ball, and Garrett Dixon is a receiver, but he's committed to Kansas State as a safety. So those two guys obviously had a really good game, and it's Zumwalt West's second straight district championship, and they play the winner of Pattonville and Rittner, and that's a game where Zumwalt West is going to be favored in the quarterfinals, whoever they play, honestly. But I'm looking forward to that Rittner-Pattonville game today. That's
Rock Road rivalry.
I saw, their game. They played each other earlier this season, and that was a really good one. And so that was a interesting game today. That'd be just a good game if you're neutral to just go watch it, honestly, because both those teams know each other really well, and it's a big rivalry.
And another close one, Sullivan and Vianney. It was 1 point, 29-28. The Eagles move on.
I feel for Vianney because Chris Starkey's done an incredible job there. This is his fourth year, and obviously those seniors, they would have really loved to, I think, validate their season, and maybe just kind of put a nice little exclamation point on their careers, by winning a district championship and going from there and seeing what happens. And goes to overtime, and actually went to double overtime. So they traded touchdowns in the first overtime, and Vianney scored. They got a touchdown on their next drive in overtime, but then Sullivan, they scored and went for 2 and got the 2-point conversion. Wow. Yeah, so it was obviously great for Sullivan, but speaking kind of from a more of a Vianney perspective, since they're local here, it's I just know Chris Starkey's a great guy, and he's done a fantastic job of getting Vianney back to just talking more about Vianney now. Yes. And I think they're going to continue to be good. And but yeah, just tough way to end a season where they were really battle tested, and they're going in the right direction though ultimately.
I know you cover not only football in the area, St. Louis, but around the state as well. CBC, by virtue of their victory, they will visit Jackson, the Pit.
Yes.
I believe next week. It looks like Jackson. They put 70 points up on the board last night against Northwest Cedar Hill, who had a great season, by the way, only 1 or 2 losses. So congratulations to them. But CBC Jackson on a Friday night, that's going to be, I remember, like I say, the last time they played, it was a great quarterfinal game or whatever it was. Very competitive. Jackson was right there. And, That you've been down to the pit. It's one of the great atmospheres. They love it down there. That should be a lot of fun when the CBC comes to town.
Absolutely. You got two teams coming off of 70-point performances yes. in that game. But yeah, I think that the pit in Jackson is the best place to go watch a high school football game in Missouri. Without question. The atmosphere is amazing. It's a football only stadium, so there's no track. The stands are close to the field, and like Jackson fans, like they fill up even the visitors stands too. I mean, they're not really they got maybe like one or a few aisles of visitors, and then everybody else is just home seating there too. So it's just extended home seating on the other side of the field. Essentially, that's not how it's supposed to work in high school football, but it does for them.
I remember years ago, Hazelwood East had a great team, and they played Jackson in the semifinals, and they had a great Mario Whitney, who was also a star sprinter there. And it like you said, it's same with CBC coming. It's not only going to be Jackson, but if you're a football fan in the Boot Hill and you don't have a team like Haytire that's playing that night, you're probably going to show up at Jackson just as a fan because like you said, you got Jackson and tradition, but now mighty CBC's coming down to, you don't get to GBC in those parts, and that just creates an even bigger and better atmosphere in the SEMO area.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, even if people maybe don't agree with me if CBC's the best team, but they're probably the best remaining team left in Class 6. I mean, maybe besides Nixa. But and then Jackson's a heck of a team as well. And this is, I don't know if they're better than they were in 2023. But, arguably they are, and they're undefeated. Both teams are undefeated, and it's. I would like to think it's going to be a shootout, but you never quite know with those type of games. But I would think so because CBC's defense is probably not going to be highly rated going into that game after giving up 62 points. But I can't wait for that game. I'm gonna do my best to get down there for that.
Absolutely, that'll be a good one. You mentioned Nixa, a team that was in the Show Me Bowl last year, state runners up. They had a big win over Joplin last night.
They did. It was kind of a scary encounter for them at first because they were actually losing 21-7, and then ended up scoring, I guess, 35 unanswered points. Was it 49-21 or 42-21?
42-21.
Yeah, so 35 unanswered points in that game, and so that was a good rebound for them. But that's. I don't know if maybe some players are overlooking Joplin or whatever, but hey, they got it done, and they're on to the next round, and I think they're playing Helias.
Yes.
Yeah. And Helias, I actually thought, I know I didn't give an opinion on this game previously, but I really thought Blue Springs was going to win that game over Helias, after knocking off Blue Springs South.
Blue Springs South was pretty highly regarded, weren't they?
They were probably, I thought they were the second best team in the state.
And Blue Springs handled them pretty good.
They did.
Yeah.
So that's a huge win for Helias right there. And so that's going to be a great game between Nixa and Helias Catholic for that one.
And Helias moving up to Class 6. They've been 4 in Class 5, I guess Class 5 finals last year. So moving up and playing, like you said, that should be, like you said.
I think they earned their Class 6 stripes last night. Yeah, I really did. I mean, their schedule, they not the greatest schedule compared to, like, I think most Class 6 school, or at least the better Class 6 schools, I should say. But I mean, if you can beat Blue Springs, a really solid Blue Springs team to win a district championship, like you earned it, and I think you're definitely one of the big boys now.
One small school around the St. Louis area, forgot to mention, that had a big win on the road last night, Lift for Life.
Yes.
Had to go through the city of St. Genevieve for 2 consecutive weeks. Of course, they played St. Genevieve here, but they played Valley Catholic in the championship game and won 2 very entertaining games that they had.
You're going to get entertainment whenever you watch Lift for Life football, and maybe for their own fans, maybe some high blood pressure as well, because they've been in some incredible games this season, good or bad at the same time, but they're a fun team to watch. And, but it really looked like it really seemed like they played their best game of the season against Valley Catholic, who's, incredibly great, 15 state championships, and they're always a contender every year. And, I think Valley Catholic, I think for the first 3 touchdowns of the game, they traded points, but then Live for Life, they were able to kind of finally establish a lead and just kind of get like maintain a 1-2 scored lead for the rest of the game. And it got interesting a little late on, but they were able to, I think they had a big pick 6 in the second half, and, they were able to hold off Valley Catholic and win the district championship. And I still think Seneca is the team to beat in Class 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think their prospects are? Seneca, Maryville, Staples in Class 3.
Yeah, Maryville's really good. They beat Lutheran North by multiple scores actually earlier in the season, and they don't. Class 3 doesn't have to worry about Blair Oaks because they're in Class 2.
Class 2, right?
And
Live for Life last year got to the semifinals
and lost to Seneca.
They had to go to Seneca. I wonder if that experience helped them.
No question.
Move. Maybe take that next step. Obviously, the talent's there. And battle tested the schedule they played was ridiculous.
Yeah,
they play Elias, so it'll be interesting with another bite at the apple. Should they take on one of these small school powers that have been there?
Yeah, no question. It helps, I think, and that's what I thought. Like, I even thought last year, like, they probably got as far as they could because Seneca's really good and they've been there before. And then, but now if they, I don't know exactly how the Class 3. I mean, what the bracket looks like, but if Live for Life does run into Seneca, that's going to be an incredible football game. And Seneca is also kind of like the Buffalo Bills the last few years. Yes. I think they've been to state 2 years in a row, and they lost some just heartbreaking games, and so it makes me want to root for them a little bit just to go win state, just because, like, hey, you've been there, you knock on the door, go win it. But obviously, hoping Live for Life can go as far as they can too, and see where it takes them, because they probably are the most talented team in Class 3, especially with their athletes and their speed. And but I know Seneca is a very physical football team too, and they're really well coached. So it's Class 3 is going to be fun. I think it's a lot more entertaining than maybe what people around here kind of think it is. I mean, we're a large school town.
Yes.
We're a town that's got Class 5 and Class 6 schools with some Class 4 and not many Class 3 teams. So it's small school football in Missouri is pretty fun. Well,
especially that part of the state. Like you say, Lamar, obviously their state championship is well documented. Their dynasty. Like you say, Seneca it's like you say, it's made some runs. They just I mean, bigger schools. Webb City had their run. Looked like Nix's turn, but that southwest part of the state, especially smaller schools.
Yeah.
It's Catsville, I think, was good for a little bit.
It's probably the best football area in the state per capita.
Right.
Hey, you have to say it. Just they're not very big. Springfield's the biggest area there, but like Springfield football, like within their town, like the Springfield public schools are really not good at football, but it's the smaller towns that are really, really good. And then you go to Joplin and Webb City, and Webb City's 16 state titles there too. So. And then if we've got to talk about it, Carthage had a
Carthage was really good.
Nice win over Republic, and they're going to be a tough team, and I know a lot of people are thinking about Platte County here, and rightfully so. They've earned a lot of respect, but you cannot look past Carthage because they are a very physical football team, and their only loss was to Nixa, and that was a good game against them too. And so I think they play. I think they don't play Lebanon, or I forget
Capital City.
They should beat Capital City, and then they'll play, assuming Carthage wins that game, they'll play the winner of Zumwalt North and Cardinal Ritter.
Okay.
So in the semifinals, if they get there, and then Platte County, what a game that was.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to get there. I think that game was probably penciled as maybe, from the moment the brackets came out.
Yeah.
Rockhurst, Kirkwood on this side of the state moving down, but Rockhurst probably for the first time,
I think so,
moving down the Class 5 right into the path of a potential Platte County repeat. And the game lived up to the hype there, last second touchdown. And talk about Mr. All-World quarterback. I mean,
Rocco Marriott.
I like that name too.
It's a great name.
I love that name.
It's weird that it's like you would think that's a guy from St. Louis, but he's from Platte City, Kansas City, I guess, or wherever they are, their school district there. But it's a great name, and he's the best quarterback in the state, and he's 6'4", runs a 4.5 40-yard dash, and so he's a dual threat quarterback, but he can easily be a pocket quarterback, and he's committed to James Madison, but he just got an offer from Mizzou, and so it'll be interesting to see like how that plays out right there. Yes. But as for now, he's an incredible quarterback, and he got it was almost like it was like written as a script. He got they were down by Platte County, they were losing. I think they were down by 1, and they got with 2 seconds to go. He runs in just a short touchdown run to win the game for Platte County. And I think a lot of people here probably wanted Rockhurst to win because they know how good Platte County can be, and so it's I think I just know people monitoring it were probably thinking like, hey, let's hope Rockhurst can win the game and whatnot. But
I saw the highlights of that game. Crowd was enormous.
Huge crowd there.
Crowd.
I really like Platte County Stadium. I was able to see it this summer. It's really great.
Oh man, good quarterback. Who else? Back to Nick. The McKnight. Talk about him.
Adam McKnight,
quarterback. He's more of a gunslinger.
He is. He can run too.
Can he run?
Yeah.
He's so big. I watch him in basketball.
He's a big dude.
Muscles people around that paint.
Yeah, he does. He's 6'4", but I don't know if he's going to play basketball this year or not. Don't quote me. I don't know, but he's a pretty good forward in basketball.
Oh God, let him the Final Four. Play basketball, Adam, please.
Three sport athlete, and I'm assuming football is going to be his sport when he goes to college. But he's 6'4". He can throw the ball, I think, near 70 yards or so, and it's incredible how far he can throw a football. And just he can just throw a simple go route and throw it 60 yards easily. But he's a good runner too. He's, like I said, he's a big guy. He's just got to he can pound people over. And then next to they got Jaden McCaster transferred from the Smet, and he's had a pretty incredible season running behind the likes of Jackson Cantwell.
I wish he would play basketball again. He was a really good basketball player.
Yeah,
I understand. We're the number one football player, and he's a future possible Olympian.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing that discus.
So he's got those two sports.
He's amazing, but he can hoop a little bit.
Yeah,
he before he put it down.
Yeah, not surprising. He couldn't do that, obviously. So
because I think of AJ Epinesa, he was a great football player. He threw the disc 200 plus and everything, but AJ Epinesa was a baller. He was a big time. He could have been low D1 possibly.
He did get offers.
Basketball.
He had a few
alley-oop dunks at
offers.
6'6", 270. He was a dude. I mean, tell you, John.
I saw
over there. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I'm thinking it's years ago. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
I know.
AJ was a dude on that basketball. Him and Mark Smith. Oh.
Mark Smith and Oliver Steven, really good 3-point shooter.
Yes.
Didn't think we'd talk about Edwardsville basketball from 10 years ago, but here we are. But no, I love it.
Yes,
they were great athletes.
You're an Illinois person, so absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, he was just really good center too. He was able to finish through contact.
Mm-hmm.
He was a really legitimately good center. So yeah. Anyway, we wish Jackson Cantwell would go play basketball at Nick's, I guess, but I think he's enrolling early at Miami as well.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
Makes sense.
Kearney, a staple in Class 4. They beat Savannah last night, 24-0.
A huge win for Kearney.
Yeah,
that was a game that was one of the biggest games in the state, and because I think both those teams are ranked number 1 and 2 respectively in Class 4, and so the fact that Kearney was able to win 24-0 I think that's a statement victory, and I think they're definitely the favorites in Class 4. And They were last. I mean, last year. It was them and Lutheran North because we knew how good they were.
Yes.
And, Lutheran North beat them in the semifinals in a really close game. But I think now, I think Kearney is there's the go and win now.
Yeah, it's looking like that. Of course, in our final minutes, I want to let you get out here talking about your favorite University of Illinois. First, talk about your football. You happy with your season so far?
Happy with the season. Wish our defense was better. And that's kind of been the main talking point of what's going wrong with, our defensive coordinator and whatnot, but should be okay the rest of the season now in the easier part of the schedule.
I watched the USC game. It was
fun.
Fantastic game, fun to watch.
Oh, gosh.
It had to be frustrating.
I was there.
To lose that lead. Oh, yeah.
I was there, yeah.
To come back, lose the lead, but then win it at the end. Wow.
That was a game where if we would have lost the game, we would have been blaming the refs.
Yes.
Yeah, because there was one play where we fumbled and we were right at the goal line and the runner was down. You could see on the replay, but and then we fumbled again into the end zone later on. So we had two red zone fumbles, and we were able to, fortunately USC, they scored too early with 2 minutes left, and that was an offensive game. And so we were able to drive down and get a field goal and win it. And then, but no, if we can go 9-3 again, that'd be great. And it's the first time since I think 1990, 91 or whatever, since the early 90s, and Illinois is bowl eligible for back-to-back years.
Yes.
So that's a big deal. Unfortunately, it's had to been that long, but because there's been some really good years where Illinois had, and then the next year they go 5-7.
Right.
So fortunately, they're able to kind of get over that hump, and they got a good future ahead of them. I think. I mean, a lot of people think 2027 is going to be a good year for Illinois. I mean, we lose a lot of guys this year, and then got to talk to future Illini Jacob Eberhardt last night for the Kirkwood games. great young man, and he'll be a really good player for them.
Absolutely, just like his daddy was.
Yep.
And the basketball, I watched. They had a great win over Texas Tech, a battle of top 15 teams. And I went you that day in a tweet. They said at the game, and a big upset over Texas. I was like, what? They just showed the ranking 10 against 14, and it was on 14's home court.
Yeah,
that's not an upset.
No, it's not. I think
stop doing that.
I think it was a not that the announcers are listening, but I thought that was actually a well announced game. They just missed. They just got that one wrong.
It wasn't Stephen Bardo, my friend, but it was no,
it wasn't. But no, that was a great game. Man, Illinois is going to be. We hope to be really, really good this season. And I mean, they're really long, and they got a lot of European players on their team. And Andrei Stojakovic, who's Peja Stojakovic's son, he transferred from California, Berkeley, and he had a huge game. And Kylan Boswell is a Champaign native. He's going to be really good. And Illinois did this without three guys who had like two potential starters, including Tomislav Ivasic, who's a projected first-round draft pick, and so they're doing that without three other role players in that game too.
Right. And I was a big Keaton Wagler fan before he even blew up.
Yeah,
Kansas. I mean, he going into his senior year, he had like UMKC and a few others. I'm like, what is going on? I even talked to his AAU coach Victor Williams, who he played for, a good guy in Kansas City, and I was like, he's gonna play at the next level, Victor. He goes, I know. I said, no, I don't think. The next
NBA.
level. He goes, I know. Yeah, kid can play. He is good. They stole him.
They did steal him. He's from Kansas City,
Kansas City side, Shawnee Mission North.
I saw him play at the Quincy Shootout last year. He didn't really have a big game, but everyone's still saying like he's the guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's starting right now, and he's just really smooth, and he lets the game kind of come to him, and he's really smart. So.
John, always a pleasure to talk with you. You do tremendous work. Guide with the game day, the podcast, the coverage every night. Thank you for stopping by and continued success.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. That's John Hough of the Gateway Sports Venue. Look him up. He's everywhere doing his thing, covering high school football and sports throughout the year. Coming up, we'll have the easy second hour rounds that you're coming in. This is the Earl Austin Experience. We'll see you in a little Austin experience. I'd like to thank John Hough for joining us here, talking high school football. And, of course, right here on the Lou Information Station at 2 p.m., it'll be East St. Louis Flyers football. The Flyers will take on Chicago Simeon in the Illinois Class 6A quarterfinals. Of course, our Maurice Scott will be on the call, so good luck to Coach Darren Sunkett and the East St. Louis Flyers as they look for another state championship. But as always, it's time for the easy second hour of the show, and we're always pleased to be joined by my co-host, Ron Zetcher. Ron, how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm great this morning.
So you're dressed for the weather, nice shorts, T-shirt.
Well, you have a pretty nice T-shirt on too, and then the guy next to me, he's got the John Burroughs Bombers baseball shirt. You know, it's the great Andy Katzman, who's our guest, Hall of Fame baseball coach at John Burroughs, and also we'll get this out of the way right away. They named the baseball field after Andy Katzman.
Fantastic.
Is that something, Earl?
That's the best.
There's no baseball field, basketball court, or anything named after Coach Zetcher. I can guarantee.
Not me either. Not me either.
There's some bad writing on the wall in some bathrooms, maybe, but that's about all.
Look, I'm fine. You could start on your topic. I want to ask, like, a lot of the old school coaches, guys that have been, they like to work on their own fields. Is that something you did or something you still do? Do you like to work on your own field, or did you in the past?
Well, now we have a
I know you got grounds crew.
Field.
I know.
Well, we've always had a grounds crew, but
right.
You know, we used to years ago have a all skin infield, basically all dirt. And the great Jim Lemon, when I was playing at John Burroughs in the 80s, you go out to the field and you'd see Coach Lemon in a tractor going around and around and around, and you could hear that tractor from the campus. And you know, at 1 PM, you heard the hum of the tractor, and we all knew Coach Lemon was down on the field, you know, doing his thing. And but you know, then after that, I worked with the great Coach McConnell,
right?
And Fred was always meticulous with our field and did a lot of work on the field.
I love that about baseball coaches. They took great care of their field. Like you say, very meticulous. And,
very much so. And then as the years went on, we had to put these tarps on our base circles because the infield was grass, and we'd go out there with old fungos and hammer in the nails around the tarps. So I got involved in that. But now it's all turf, and we just look out and in amazement with the way it looks.
Well, you just mentioned Fred McConnell, who's an awesome guy. I've known Fred, and his brother Tom was a catcher at Washington University, was a teammate of mine. But I'm going to just real quick shout out, and then we'll get on to you with Andy. When you speak about McConnell, those two guys are awesome. But I'm going to tell you something else. Their father was the best, Tom McConnell. I had the honor of knowing him. I had the honor of playing in a early season scrimmage when I was a senior in high school over at John Burroughs, and some guy was officiating that scrimmage, and I called traveling on me about 4 or 5 times, and I kind of gave him a look, and man, that guy got on me, and he said, "Hey man, you're traveling and just knock it off." And it was Mr. Tom McConnell. So I learned about that guy a long time ago, and what a wonderful, wonderful human being, who we won't go into it, but the way he lost his life is an absolute tragedy. And I don't believe they have ever caught the hit and run driver who hit him that night, and his wife. His wife survived it. Anyway, Andy Katzman in 1985, as a student at John Burroughs, played on a state championship, and he was a pitcher. And they tell me he had a knuckle curve, and I guess that knuckle curve got a lot of guys out that year, huh, Andy?
Yeah, it did. Actually, my catcher who caught that was my near and dear friend, former PGA Tour player Jay Williamson. And, so he would always come out to me and ask me what in the world that pitch was. But it got a lot of guys out because at the high school level, movement, if you will, a lot of guys are off balance on that pitch. So when a pitch comes in at 48 miles an hour, there's a lot of waiting involved for for a batter. So it was pretty effective.
Yeah. Well, you played there and you had a tremendous high school baseball career, and then you went to Wake Forest and played. And, you came back and you started coaching a little bit over at John Burroughs. And you want to tell us a little bit about that? And we can also throw in the name of Lee Ingert, because I think he had a lot to do with you, Andy.
Yeah, I started over at John Burroughs my senior year in college. I had actually transferred after 2 years at Wake to St. Louis University, played for the great Frank Mormino. Anyway, that was quite the experience, but I had just a glorious time my junior year there. And then my senior year, the body started giving out, and it was time to get into coaching. And so my senior year, I would head over to Burroughs, and I started my first year there in '89 with Lee Ingert. He and I coached the JV team together, and we ended up winning the ABC League. And then Coach Ingert went on from there and went to Chaminade, and I went up to the varsity and worked with Coach Lemon. I was Jim Lemon's assistant in 1990, and we went to the Final Four in 90, and then we won it all in 91. But our first state championship was in 85, my senior year. So that transition to John Burroughs was very special because it kind of gave me my first real contact with Coach Ingert, and it really propelled me into wanting to do this long term.
Well, you did do it long term, 38 years. That's pretty long. That's long. I mean, that's really like a lifetime.
Absolutely. Was Chip Walther part of those teams?
I coached Chip.
That's what I thought.
Absolutely.
You played every sport. How good a baseball player was he?
Chip Walther was a fantastic baseball player. He played on the infield for us. And I always joked with his father, Rocky, and with Chip. I said, you love this game of basketball so much, but man, you need to get into baseball at the next level. He was just a tremendous baseball player, and we know he was a tremendous basketball player and football as well. So as all around athletes go, he was one of the best.
Well, Chip Walter, I met him long before you did.
Yes,
because he was a kindergartner over at Reed Elementary School. And as Rocky brought him up there, I think we talked about this once that Rocky brings him up there the first day of school, and he says to me, now look, he said, I got a little guy here. He's a heck of an athlete. He's a kindergartner. I said, oh yeah, right. Sure, Rocky. He's terrific. He said, well, Chip, throw coach a football. And he had a little peewee football. And I'm standing there right in front of that school, and that little guy winged that son of a gun at me. I thought, wow. So then you guys came over years later. I was helping Jim Wolf, and Chip had transferred over to John Burroughs. And here we go. All the Ladue guys in the dugout. Oh, hi, Chip. That's silly. And he struck out on about 3 or 4 pitches his first time up. But now they're really into it. Andy, remember what he did the second time when he hit it out in right center, way out in the trees there? Long gone.
Yep.
Hey, Ladue boys, you're quiet.
How could he be? Could he, if he had stuck with baseball, could he have played like major college or
I'm not sure.
Or what
I'm not
level
sure necessarily. About the Texas of the world and the Miamis, but he absolutely could have played baseball at the next level. There's no doubt about
Missouri
that.
Valley Conference.
Absolutely, there's no
good.
doubt. But he chose a great route, and he really did make his mark at Mizzou, and he got to play for the great Norm Stewart. And I mean, it's he, I coached his son also at Burroughs in baseball. So Owen, absolutely.
Oh my God.
So Owen was a pitcher for us,
Okay.
and what a tremendous young man.
One of the best shooters
in
the state of Missouri.
And he's playing now.
Oh, he was amazing.
Yeah.
He let it go.
Yeah,
Chip could never shoot like that.
I know. I've had believe it or not, I believe almost 10 father and son combinations coaching baseball.
Wow.
So on our state championship team in 2023, I had 5 literally of the kids that were playing on an undefeated team in 23 that won the state title. I had coached 5 of the players' fathers. And it seemed like yesterday that I was, interacting with their fathers on the field, and now, a time warp. And now all of a sudden we're in a state championship with their sons.
These are kids that has to help, because these are kids that know what to expect.
100%. Yeah.
When they haven't had dad, okay, that's telling them.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
100%. That's probably one of the highlights of my coaching career has been working with the kids of the fathers. I mean, it's just.
I feel the same way about covering kids like that.
Yeah,
same
of
way.
course.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you had, speaking of Owen,
yeah.
I met him before you too. That's how old I am.
Yeah, well,
because he came over to Reed School also.
Yeah,
what a great kid.
Great.
And the daughter, his sister,
Lily.
Lily was tremendous tennis player, and just she's did wonderful things at John Burroughs and beyond.
So you, my friend, won 10 district titles and 3 state titles, and we talked before the program. You coached the Van Slyke kids, and, and had a great relationship with the Van Slyke family, and you still do. I want to throw a little something at you real quick here. I just want to shout out to your family. Earl, I've known Andy's family for so many years. His mom, Jeannie, her maiden name was Roman.
Absolutely.
And
it's my middle name.
And his dad's been known since he was in high school. I don't even know if I know your dad's, Aaron's his real name, but they call him Punky Katzman.
Punky Katzman.
With 2 of the best people in the world. Mm-hmm. His brother is a big time doctor, David, big time doctor. I mean, am I right?
Yes.
I cannot afford that doctor.
No, he is very well known here around St. Louis, and he's been in the field for obviously many, many years, and he's got to be the most respected doctor out there as a family physician.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And then your grandpa, Benny Roman,
mm-hmm.
and then your other grandpa. Now this guy, the other grandpa, I even, that's how old I am. Doc Katzman.
Oh man. That's right.
Doc was the president of the school board in U City.
Absolutely.
And probably had to have many school board meetings trying to decide what to do with this young kid when he was in school. But anyway, Ben Roman, I told Earl, you'll enjoy this. His grandpa, Ben, his mom's father. I couldn't get anybody to really work with me in the summer when I was 13 and 14. And I threw pretty hard. None of my friends would go and catch me. I said, come on, I want to just throw for an hour or half hour. And Ben Roman, God bless him, he would meet me at Heman Park, 100-degree weather, squat down behind a plate and work with me. There's not many people like that anymore.
No, there's not. I mean, that's we're going back some years well before me, obviously, but yeah, no, he was a tremendous man, and he always did tell me baseball stories of the past, because he actually was, took me to games growing up when I was playing, and he would come out to the ballpark and watch, and we'd tell stories on the way home when he'd take me back. So, that those are wonderful memories, and I'm sure he was very special to you when you were playing. Yeah.
Very special to me. And what is this Molly's Porch?
Molly's Porch is so they went ahead and the new baseball complex they named after myself, and then we have these wonderful left field bleachers, if you will, and it's kind of an area to congregate to watch the baseball games. And they named it after my daughter Molly. And Molly has some special needs. She has what we call Fragile X, but she's been along with me and along my side at Burroughs athletic functions since literally she was born. So she gets involved in all the various teams. And she's, kind of the biggest cheerleader on the field. So she's very involved in the lacrosse team, the girls lacrosse team, and the girls field hockey team. And due to the fact that, she is beloved over there and so involved in the various athletic teams, along with our baseball team as well. She goes to Florida with us every year when we take the team to Florida. So, Some people got together, and the head field hockey coach, Carrie Chapman, it was originally her idea and her family's idea to honor Molly and name the left field bleachers, if you will, Molly's Porch. And it's a real honor. But I think it tells more about kind of what we're all trying to do here in sports, and not take ourselves too seriously, and really remember what it's all about. And that's the joy of playing, the joy of competing, and the celebration of the sport. And that's what Molly represents. I mean, Molly went to Ladue, and what she represents to so many people. I mean, she's incredibly well known in the community. And there's been stories written about her and all, but more importantly, she has never met anybody she doesn't like. And she's never met a sports team that she won't cheer for. One time she'll be cheering for the Burroughs team. When it's over, she'll lead the cheer. And then as I'm walking to the parking lot and I look back, she's with the opposing teams doing their cheer at the end of the game. So, she really, truly exemplifies kind of, I think, what we're all striving for in high school sports and beyond. And that is, just the joy of competing, and, the understanding that, this is, we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously.
I couldn't agree with you more. And boy, 3 state championships and 10 district titles. I'm just guessing now, but I know you pretty well. I think that's the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah. I mean, look, the titles are great. The longevity, obviously I've been able to hang around a long time, but philosophically, the way I have coached and approached the game is I always wanted to make it fun. I always wanted, look, baseball is the final semester, if you will, before these kids go on. And, the last thing I wanted to do as a coach was to, leave a bad taste in these kids' mouths, especially the seniors who are moving on to their next chapter. So, my goal every year was at the end of the year, if they smiled and if they said, man, that was a lot of fun, win or lose. And don't kid yourself. Nobody is more competitive than myself, and winning, is more fun than losing. Right. But at the end of the day, how many professional athletes do you really get in high school to move to the next level? Really, most of the time, the next time these kids touch a glove when they graduate from Burroughs is going to be a co-ed softball game in the summer when they're 25 or something, right? So make it fun, and, let's try to win some championships along the way, and teach these kids some lifelong lessons. And that's what I've always tried to do.
That's tremendous. Hearing that from you. And I we talked about something else. My grandson, Jake Brown, went to Clayton High School, and we competed against John Burroughs 4 years in a row in the district playoffs. And Clayton had some great teams those years with a really good coach, a guy that I have a lot of respect for, Craig Suker. Just a great guy.
Yeah, great guy.
And we
great
competed,
coach.
and I'm going to tell a story on myself now that I'm not extremely proud of, but it did happen. It's a Ripley's Believe It or Not story. Wow, how do I even tell this story? But anyway, my grandson, Jake Brown, he strikes out his first time at bat against Burroughs in the district final. Was it the final or semifinal?
I think it's
semifinal. And he strikes out, and I'm sitting there like, what's wrong with you? Swing the bat. Next time up, he gets called out, and he walks away. Now, I still believe that he didn't say anything to the umpire, but he might have. Who knows? And the umpire ejects him. So I'm not a very good spectator, and I shot my mouth off. And the guy knew me. He says, hey, Zetcher, get out of here. You're gone. I'm gone. Well, about that time, the other grandfather, Mel Brown, he's passed, but Mel Brown's one of the nicest, quietest men in America. He comes flying down there, and he's really hot. And guess what? You're gone too. Get out of here. So both grandfathers and the grandson were up on the top of the parking lot over at Shaw Park. And somehow or another, I don't know how it happened, Clayton ended up winning a game. You know what I mean? but that's how you should not act at a baseball game, especially if you're a grandfather.
The hat trick.
That's a Ripley's, believe it or not, Earl, 3 in a matter of maybe 25 seconds. What do you think, Katzman? You were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Did you encourage that umpire to
No, of course not. Of course not. No, actually, I was, I'll never forget. I was coming out to the pitching mound and the umpire came out to me and he looked at me and he said, do you know those 2 guys over there screaming at me? And I said, well, actually I do. And he said, well, they're not going to be here very long. And I looked at him and I said, well, that's your call. That's your call. And with that, I started walking away. And then I looked to my left and there he goes. He tossed the 2 grandpas. And, I just kept trying to, keep the boys focused. But
I've never seen 2 grandpas get kicked out. I've seen parents, kid and parent.
No,
but
that was a first.
Two grandpas.
The only other thing that took place when we were ejected is I saw a girl that I know very well trying to hide my daughter and her husband, Andy. They were very embarrassed and they forgave me, but it took a long time.
Good.
I wanted to ask you, been around a long time. You watch a lot of baseball, the pros. What can high school kids, younger kids learn from watching the pros? Obviously, they emulate, and obviously some idolize. They see these great players, but what can they learn from watching these great players?
That's a great question. I think I encourage kids to look for the simple things, look for fundamentals, look for how these infielders, approach a ground ball. Look at the outfielders and how they don't necessarily, camp under a fly ball. They have their, momentum going forward when there's guys on base. Look for the simple fundamentals. Look at the hitters. Look at their stance. Look where their head is upon contact with the baseball. The baseball can be complicated and you can get into several different, teaching aspects of the game, but the the basics of the game, staying in front of the ball, getting the glove down, keeping your head, square to the baseball. Those are things that you can pick up from watching the pros. And that's what I encourage them to do. I mean, just keep it simple and look for the basics.
Are we about finished with this?
About a minute
Okay, so I want to finish with this, and I have the greatest respect in the world for you, and I speak about a lot of the old time coaches, and that doesn't mean you're an old person, but guys who've been around a long time, and we've already talked about Ray Elliott, who was an iconic coach at Beaumont, and Lee Inger. We don't have to say much more about him, and Bob Swift, and we've discussed Steve Nicolarette. And I'm going to throw a thing in there for Craig Suker, what he's done with the kids he's had, and same with Jim Wolf over at Ladue. They don't get the greatest players, but they do the best they can with the kids they get. And then I'm going to also obviously include you in that list of the great coaches.
I appreciate that, Ron. I really do. I've really enjoyed this journey. I'm continuing to do it. I gave the head job, if you will, at John Burroughs is now with Scott Deacon, and our other assistant is Davey Deloge, who I coached also when he played at Burroughs. And the 3 of us now continue to coach at Burroughs, and we've been together since 2020, and that's when Scott took over. But I'm now Scott's assistant after 20 years of being head of the program. So it's been a great journey. It's been a lot of fun. I look for several more years coaching. I love doing it. I love the kids, and I can't wait till spring.
Well, we're probably about ready to sign off. And Andy, guess what? Those kids are lucky to still have you over there. Whether you're an assistant coach, head coach, whatever, they're going to get nothing but good stuff from you.
I appreciate that, Ron. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for so
Earl,
much.
Thank you so much. You guys are the best.
Congrats on a great career.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Andy Katzman, great coach, Hall of Fame legend, John Burroughs School. When we return, we'll have more of the Earl Austin Experience and other special guests coming in the studio. We'll be right back.
St. Louis, meet your new daily companion, the Lou Information Station app. Listen live anywhere, anytime with one click. Dive into live or on-demand content. It's the fastest way to stay connected to the conversations that matter in the Lou. Just search Lou Information Station in the App Store or Google Play and download it free today. The Lou Information Station app. Crystal clear St. Louis talk 24/7.
Fast Track Auto Transport has been a trusted leader in vehicle shipping for over 25 years, providing reliable, affordable service across the U.S. Fast Track offers fast and safe transportation solutions for individuals, dealerships, fleets, and businesses of all sizes. The Fast Track team prides itself on honest communication, competitive pricing, and real-time tracking, which gives our customers peace of mind from pickup to delivery. Whether you're shipping a single car or managing a large fleet, Fast Track delivers a smooth, hassle-free experience every time. Come see why Fast Track Auto Transport has been St. Louis's go-to company for all your vehicle transport needs for over 25 years. The trusted way, the safe way, the Fast Track way. Visit ftautotrans.com or call 636-677-9004. That's ftautotrans.com or call 636-677-9004.
STL Sports Central is St. Louis's first all-digital sports network, and it's easy to find on YouTube. Catch the Randy Carricker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Videos and written content from Bernie Miklas, Card Central 365 every day, plus post-game shows after every St. Louis sports team plays. It's all at your fingertips on YouTube and online at stlsportscentral.com. Check it out.
This is Mizzou wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr.
And I'm Mizzou linebacker Josiah Trotter.
When we hit the field, we have each other's back.
And off the field, we got James Carlton and State Farm covering us.
Thanks, fellas. Nothing beats college football season, and nothing beats saving money. Just by getting a quote from our office and mentioning Mizzou, we'll make a donation to support Mizzou's will to win push on your behalf. No strings attached.
So you're supporting the team just by checking your rates. Doesn't get any easier than that.
It's so easy. Check them out online at cartoninsurance.net. MIZZOU.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-891-6335. 800-891-6335. 800-891-6335. That's 800-891-6335.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based solely on advertisements.
Not sure how to get a lawyer after an accident? Call Brown & Crouppen. We'll walk you through it. Worried it'll cost too much? Here's a fact. At Brown & Crouppen, you pay nothing up front, and we never get paid unless you do. When you're our client, you'll have all your questions answered, all for free. Hurt? Get the facts and help you need. Call Brown & Crouppen now.
Hey everyone, Cam Jansen here to tell you about the experts at Fast Signs in Earth City. Fast Signs can handle any and all of your business visibility needs, from traditional signs and graphics to digital to core graphics and anything in between. Fast Signs in Earth City has you covered. The station uses them, the Blues use them, and you will love the work they do. Call 314-344-4400 for your custom signage needs today. That's Fast Signs in Earth City. 314-344-4400.
STL Sports Central is St. Louis's first all-digital sports network, and it's easy to find on YouTube.
to the easy second hour. Earl Austin and co-host Ron Zetcher getting our stuff together. Thank you, Andy Katzman, once again for joining us. Of course, 2 p.m. East St. Louis football. The Flyers will take on Chicago Simeon in the state quarterfinals. And then tonight I'll be at Chaffetz Arena where the Billikens will take on Grand Canyon in a big game, Atlantic 10 versus Mountain West. But Ron, we got another special guest here. We're setting Dano up there. But tonight, as we get set up there. Like you said, the Billikens are 3-0 on the season, and they'll take on a good Grand Canyon squad coached by Bryce Drew. Excellent coach. So looking forward to that. Everybody get out to Chaffetz. So I think we're ready there, Ron. There's another special guest there.
We have a special guest sitting right next to me, Dan O'Neill, a great journalism Missouri University journalism
sports leader. Yeah.
And can you hear me?
I can't hear myself, but I can hear you.
Okay.
Maybe
You can take them off then if you want. So Earl, Dan O'Neill is he's an author and he's a beat writer for the Blues at one time, right, Dan? And you were a beat writer and for the Cardinals.
Man About Town.
Man About Town, yes. Well, look at how you're dressed today. You look like you're about.
Well, I got a book signing. I'm going straight from here.
Well, what we're going to do then, we're going to talk about that book real quick, and it's a great book. In fact, I bought it. One of our 1, 2, 3 club.
Yeah, I
meetings.
think I charged you double. I think most of the members I charged double. Yeah.
So let's talk about that book for a second.
Well, it's a children's book. I don't know if you want to talk too much about it, but I have a granddaughter named Avery Rose O'Neill. She's my son Dan's daughter. Dan's director of media relations for the Blues, and he's got 4 kids, but she was the first. And we've done a lot of babysitting with all of our grandkids, and especially Dan's because they were first. They had an inside, avenue to that, but she's just always been a special kid. She's always loved to read, loved to be read to. She writes now. She's now 9, but I started writing this book when she was about 4 or 5.
That's awesome. Can we talk a little bit about a guy that I think you were pretty close to down at the Post-Dispatch, Rick Hummel?
Yeah, sure. It's still hard to believe he's gone, but yeah, Rick and I worked on the Cardinals together. I don't know, about 10 or 12 years or something like that. And, Rick, of course, was already established and as the beat writer for baseball. And I just learned so much from him. He was the easiest guy at the Post-Dispatch to work with. And I mean, Earl can maybe speak to this, but that whole business is so full of big egos and stuff. And people aren't always the easiest to work with in radio or newspaper, whatever. But Rick, everybody liked Rick. Everybody could work with Rick. He was just, really even keel, really helpful. But he was the best deadline writer of all time that I've ever worked with. I've worked with a lot of people, but I learned more about deadline writing from Rick than anyone, just because he had incredible poise. And Earl knows what deadline writing is about. Yes. I mean, for most people, it's a very harrowing experience. But Rick always was just very calm about it. It was pretty amazing. You'd sit there at the ballpark in the press box with him, and the game would go extra innings. And, you're now past deadline. So as soon as the last out, you got to file your story. And no matter what happened, Rick he just had a great knack for doing that. So, yeah, I miss him. I stayed in touch with him. He's one of the few guys at the Post who still, would stay in touch with and would go out to lunch every once in a while. So, yeah, that was a shocker. So, he's missed. I think he's missed in the sports community overall.
My best times with Rick weren't with the Pulse or writing. It would be at the Collinsville tournament. If you know Rick was from Quincy, Illinois, and he loved, above everything, he loved his Quincy Blue Devils basketball team. And every year Quincy would come to this Collinsville tournament.
Yeah.
And for many years we'd sit there and just talk.
And Gary Miller too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we talk about his Blue Devils. He loved his Blue Devils. And obviously Quincy has a storied history. And he was critical. I mean, but in a nice way. Okay, not rebounding today. We got to play better defense. But he just loved. So, like you said, when he was gone, I could just imagine just avoid sitting up there because the seats are up top. There.
He'd always sit up high.
See, we always sit up high with a press on.
Yeah, he went to that tournament every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
I
sat there with him a couple of times.
He never missed Quincy.
Yeah, you know, and
I love this. That was like our little special time with commish watching the Quincy play.
The other thing is I mean, Rick was a baseball writer for I don't know how many years, 50 years or something, but he knew more about all sports. Mm-hmm. I mean, he probably knew more about high school and college basketball.
I loved it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, than he did about baseball. And he was just remarkable that way. And you know who else was like that was Whitey. Whitey Herzog knew more about, basketball and football. You could sit there and talk with them about those things. And
Whitey was a regular at the Billiken game, especially when Spoon was there.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
My God. Yeah, they were.
Well, I think he officiated basketball.
Yes. Whitey did officiate. He worked a little bit in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Right, actually. And so did our buddy Dave Phillips.
Oh, Dave Phillips. We had Dave on the program a week or two ago, and Dave did it all. I mean, he was a pretty good. He was a good basketball official, not as good a basketball official as he was a major league umpire. He was a tremendous umpire, and then Dave became a supervisor of multiple conferences. And I always say, he was a good friend of mine. That's why I was able to hang around so long. He protected me. But anyway,
I want to let you for
Rick Hummel.
You mentioned Whitey. One of
ahead.
his last appearances, I remember at a Billiken game. This might be a year before he died. He came to a Billiken game. He had this baseball bat cane. As a kid, it was the coolest thing. I took a picture of it. Everybody was a lot of response like, "Oh, I love that cane." But you're right. He was a baseball fan. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, he was fun to talk to about anything. I mean, he was a brilliant guy. He was from New Athens, and had very old school that way, very simple, values and things like that. But he was. He reminded me a little bit of, I did a lot of golf and covered a lot of major golf events. And it was always a treat to get there and Jack Nicklaus or Arnold Palmer would have a press conference. And to listen to those guys talk, they were just so sharp, so smart. I mean, Jack still is. And they could tell you what club they used. I was always amazed. What club they used to hit a shot on the seventh hole in the 1960 U.S. Open. Years and years and years ago, they were just really smart and brilliant guys. And Whitey was like that too.
Well, you go to a Billiken preseason banquet years ago, and we have the banquet, and then everybody meet upstairs in one of the hotel rooms, and that's when Whitey and Spoon got together. It just cut loose. It was like Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. Everybody's just
they were two peas in a pod.
Crying, laughing with the stories, and then Whitey would just take over. I've been to a couple of 1, 2, 3 meetings, and everybody would talk a little bit, then everybody talk about their thing, and then everybody would sit, and then Whitey would take over the whole court for an hour.
Yeah, in fact, that's a good point because I think it got to the point with Whitey where he would have come to meetings more often if he didn't know that when he came, he was going to have to do a lot of talking.
Yes.
Because people wouldn't leave him alone. They'd keep asking questions. And I think I sometimes feel bad at those things for people like Whitey who they get leaned on. They have to, all they want to do is have lunch with a bunch of guys and they want to listen more than they want to talk. But when you're somebody like that, you get relied on to do a lot
I think
of talking.
he loved to talk.
Oh, he
loved
did,
it.
but
Yeah.
I think
Right.
it got to the
Sure.
point where it was, he'd
Dan-
get abused in that way a little bit.
Dan, weren't some of those meetings awesome when Whitey and Hannafin were both there at the same
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
I remember
Jim Hannafin.
Were you there the day that they had to take Hannafin out on a stretcher?
On Delmar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I had just arrived, and I came, and there's medical people there, and they're taking Jim Hannafin out on a stretcher.
Wow.
So I sat down, everything calmed down, and I said, "Hey, what did he have to eat?" Because whatever it was, I wasn't going to order it.
Yeah, well, I remember that well.
Yeah,
and I remember you saying that too.
Yeah,
Dan, you got a great sense of humor, and you're great at your profession. Can I ask you, when you tell me about the different managers that you covered with the Cardinals?
Yeah, well, I was, I was really blessed to be around and doing it at the time, because I went from, Whitey was the manager when I first started doing the Cardinals. And actually, this involves Rick Hummel, so I got a good story for you. Excuse me. The first time I went down to spring training, and I got down there, that I think I got there on a Friday evening, got into town, and the NCAA basketball tournament's going on. So Hummel tells me, "Yeah, meet me at this bar, and we're gonna watch the games." So yeah, great. So I met him at the bar, and we were the last two people to leave. Back in those days, Rick actually cleaned up his act, but in more recent years. Yeah. But he was a hardcore baseball writer back then, and those guys they hit it pretty hard. So I got down there, and I wanted to, I was new to the whole thing. I wanted to be accepted and do the try to fit in. So we sat there and watched basketball games till about 2:00 or something in the morning. Just hammered. I left and I was just hammered. So, and that was when they were at Al Lang in St. Petersburg, and you stayed at the hotel right across the street. So the next day, I had to be over at the ballpark at 7 a.m. or something, and got up. I was just, oh my God, it was painful. And my eyes were just destroyed, red. So I went over to the ballpark. I barely walk across the street, but I went over to the ballpark and I put on these dark glasses, because the last thing I didn't want anybody to see how bad my eyes were. So I walk into the clubhouse, and I go downstairs, and the clubhouse and all that at Al Lang, it was sort of like somebody's basement. It was sort of dark in there. It wasn't very bright or anything. So there was absolutely no reason why anyone would be wearing sunglasses down there. So I go down there. I'm just trying to be inconspicuous. I don't want to see anyone. And the last person in the world I want to see is Whitey Herzog, who I haven't even met yet. So I come walking down into the corridor, and from the other end, here comes Whitey, the opposite direction. And I come walking up, and as he approaches me, he says, "Well, I see you met Hummel." And he just kept on walking out to the field.
That's awesome.
So that was my introduction to Cardinal baseball and Whitey. But, the best times of being a sports writer were spring training, sitting in Whitey's office, and he'd just hold court, And back in those days, you could do that. Same with Joe Torre. Joe Torre was great to me. Tony LaRussa was great to me. But you could sit in the manager's office, regular season or spring training. But you could sit there and shoot the bull for a couple hours before the game and have a great time. But you can't do that anymore.
You talked about Dave Phillips and talking about Whitey. And I'll share this with Danny. I think Earl, but years ago they had the baseball strike, And when the strike was over,
You're gonna have another one soon. Too.
They told all the umpires that they had to umpire a game here and a game there. So Phillips had to umpire a game here against Kansas City, and then the next day go up to Kansas City and then start umpiring again. So he asked me, he said, "Would you like to go down and umpire with me?" So, yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be a big shot for one night,
Sure.
So I go down there and I asked him ahead of time if we could take this Ray Maneri. He's the old timer. Dave, you think we could take him with us? It'd be the highlight of his life. So he came down here, and Whitey came out with Jim Fry, at home plate, and Whitey had an envelope. He said, "Well, I thought you only going to have one umpire here, Dave." And Dave said, "Well, we brought this Ray Maneri, say hello to him." Whitey said, "Well, just wait a minute." And he went back in the clubhouse and got another envelope and put a $50 bill in it and came out and gave it to Ray. That was Whitey. And then I had one call in the game, by the way. Willie Wilson hit one in the hole, and Ozzie picked it up, and there's no way you're going to, he's safe. I mean, there's no way he's going to be out. I call him safe.
Yeah.
And Hernandez looks at me like, "Where are you from?"
Really?
Oh, he was out.
You should have thrown him out again.
He was out, and
you should have taken that opportunity to throw Hernandez out of the game.
You know what?
You'd have made a name for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there weren't that many people there, but all I could hear after that one call, only tough call I had the game is, "You're worse on the baseball field than you are on the basketball court." That's some nice fans.
Yeah. Welcome to the big leagues. Yeah.
You I fancy myself as a historian, especially in high school and basketball, but you like the history, and you've written books on history.
Oh yeah.
What put you into that realm of just?
Well, it's. I was going to say it's funny you had. I hadn't seen Andy Katzman in 35 or 40 years, but I covered for the Post-Dispatch. I covered the 1985 state baseball championship that he played on. He and Jay Williamson, who I still talk to Jay every once in a while, but I used to talk to him more frequently when he was still out on the PGA Tour. And so I heard you guys coming in. I heard you guys talking about high school sports, and I just have totally lost touch with it. But whenever, sometimes you'll talk to people, or I'll do an appearance with the books or something, and people will ask you, what's the greatest thing you ever covered, or and to this day, I mean, I did World Series and Stanley Cups, and my favorite, that's an amateur mistake there, Ron. To this day, the greatest thing I ever covered was Granite City beating East St. Louis in high school football, and I think it
broke their 47-game winning streak.
Yeah, East St. Louis was number one in the nation.
I believe the Hogans.
And the Hogan twins. One was quarterback, one was a receiver.
Twins. Yes,
and I think it was 17-14. Mm-hmm. And that was the most unbelievable sports event I ever covered. It was incredible. And because Granite City, they had a good season that season, but they were not like a powerhouse. They were probably 4-2 when they played that game or something. Yeah. I don't remember, but that was just incredible. And Bob Shannon was a coach, and I remember talking to him after the game. It's like, wow, this is, what do I even say to him?
Really happened. Yeah.
But he handled it great. He gave Granite City all the credit in the world, and but they had some great East St. Louis. I covered East St. Louis for 3 or 4 years, and they just had some great teams. And Shannon was something else. I mean, he would not. I remember I always used to give him trouble about this, because now his explanation was, he would be winning. This, Earl, but he'd be winning a game 42-0 in the third quarter. He'd still be throwing downfield. He'd still be trying to score. And I would always say, how can you do that? And he'd say, well, we're trying to get better. And if they'll tell me they're not going to try to score anymore, then I won't try to score anymore, or something like that. But, he was great, though. Bob Shannon was one of my favorites. He was terrific to work with.
Legend.
Did you, when I was in high school, and that's a long, long time ago, the two guys who covered U City in those days, Harold Tuthill And John J. Archibald.
No. Well, John Archibald, yeah.
I knew John.
Yeah. I've met him. I think I think Archibald was still at the Post when I first, but he was like riding bowling or something like that. One of the high end beats, you know. Yeah.
Well, Dan, that's a shame with the short interview. You got to come back.
Oh, I'll come back anytime, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, it's so great to see you, Earl. I haven't seen you in ages.
I know. Before I let you go, we got to get out of here. But when I first got to the Post, you were one of the first people and a few people that talked to this young reporter all the time. I always remembered that, and I appreciate you
thanks,
for that.
Man.
I'm
That's
glad
nice
to see
to say that.
I always read everything you read because you were one of the most talented writers there in that sports department. And
one of the most talented basketball players you ever saw.
Oh, you can hoop, absolutely.
Remember?
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That
Absolutely. That was my last time. Well, once again, a great another 2 hours of the Earl Austin experience. We'd like to thank Andy Katzman and Dan O'Neill and John Hough for joining us. We'll be back for 2 more hours of great talk next week on the Earl Austin experience on KLS Blue Information Station. See you next week.